All right, happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to Raiderland Rewind, looking back on Texas Tech's 16-13 victory in Lawrence over the Kansas Jayhawks today. We're in the Arctic Air Studios, and of course, presented by Thacker Jewelry. We'll let you guys get in. You know, do the early arrivals. Let us know the audio is good, the video is good. Give us thumbs up, give us hearts, share it with your friends, invite them in, and let's get the party started today. Talking to Texas Tech victory that I think for a lot of people, they were kind of wondering if it was going to end up being a Texas Tech victory. Had it all the way. You knew with 26 seconds, they'd left Barron Morton too much time. And, of course, Gino Garcia, good from anywhere within the state of Kansas on this afternoon, wasn't going to have a problem even kicking it into the wind. So let's get some folks in today. Let's get ready. Let's talk some Red Raider football and whatever else that we get into today, which I got a feeling will be pretty much Red Raider football. Don't forget, if you are on the text line, if you want to use the text line, if you're watching us on Twitter and or YouTube, that's how we'll get your comments. The United Supermarkets text line waiting for you, 806-772-0197. Let's do it in 3, in 2. Good afternoon, West Texans. All you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, theraiderland.com, the website. Everything we do, you find there. Our questions of the day, Raiderland hot links, 5 things we know on a Sunday, and, of course, the daily broadcast that we archive every day for you around 6:30. That's right, the talking box is indeed on, James. We welcome you into Raiderland Rewind, brought to you by Thacker Jewelry here in the Hopeplex. 50 years strong, West Texas legends. Your love story, well, it just may begin there at Thacker Jewelry. So we welcome everybody in on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live. Use that United Supermarkets text line if you're on Twitter and on YouTube. 806-772-0197. We'll give you our thoughts on what transpired in Lawrence today. We'll get your comments, your questions, and anything else. It was a football game. It was a football game that played out exactly the way we probably didn't think it was going to play out. Texas Tech, not just run heavy, whatever comes after run dominant in the first half, in the first quarter. For everybody who'd said, give Taj Brooks the ball, Zach Kitley heard you and said, not only am I going to give him the ball, I'm going to give him the ball, I'm going to give him the ball again, I'm going to give him the ball again. And it worked. And it was working. It was dominant first quarter for sure. Your first 2 drives, you're putting points on the board, although there was an odd feeling after a holding call wiped out a touchdown and it turned it into a field goal that you might need those points later on. And it turns out you probably could have used those points later on. As the day went on, Kansas adjusted, obviously, defensively, and the offense did what the offense has done at times for the last year or so, and that it went into hiding. The O-line needs help. The O-line was great today, I thought, for the most part, on the run block. I mean, at a certain point, you know, they're going to take away the run, and you've got to do something. We're going to get to that in a moment with what the offense wasn't able to do to capitalize as the day went on the strong running game. At a certain point, you have to build off, you have to cash it in, you have to hit some big passes. But it was just enough there today. The defense, I really solid effort. What more do you want? I don't know that I've ever seen an 18-play, 93-yard drive not turn into points. There you go. You had one of those. It's like the old line. If you hang around long enough, you watch enough games, you'll see everything. And I don't think I'd ever seen an 18-play drive go 93 yards and not culminate in points. Kansas with some mystifying 4th down decisions as well on the day and one cost them their quarterback when they ran Bean on a 4th down. Just a naked boot, it looked like, unless he just completely came up with that on his own after he'd been hit and had that knee bent back awkwardly. I thought, man, this guy's day is done. Hopefully he'll get back this season. It looked like a knee injury. He come back out, and then they run him on 4th and 2. When Neal had been gashing you. Allen says the toughest team won. Wait! Wrong team at Tech. Interesting. The first 3 plays of the second half, 3 straight passes, I'm like, okay, and I'm not opposed to throwing the ball, but it was just a little bit interesting at the moment, the way that played out. But anyhow, you get the win. Texas Tech 1 game away from bowl eligibility. You got 2 cracks to do it. UCF at home, and you've got obviously Texas on the road to close it out. Make no mistake about it, big road win in the Big 12. McGuire now 3-5 on the road in the Big 12. It's the best road win against a ranked team since 2018 at number 15 Oklahoma State. A lot of positives, obviously, to take away from this. It is still a bit of a mystifying offense at times, but when you needed it most, Behren Morton got you downfield. Bradley, then Price, the timeout. Bradley again for 33, and you get the win. So did you steal one today? Maybe you stole one today. Does that make up for two that were stolen from you, which I consider West Virginia and Wyoming both stolen games? Man, not really. It is what it is. Third string quarterback, not bad. No, Ballard looked really good, the son of NFL GM for the Indianapolis Colts out there. Jeff says a bowl game and a winning Big 12 record after how the season started would be huge. And now you are above water, 4-3, same record as Kansas in Big 12 play. Allen says there's some chaos involved for a 7-5 Tech team to make the Big 12 championship game. I'm not even going to entertain the chaos that would have to take place. Ryan, love Taj, but they have to find a way to pass the ball consistent. Yes, they do. And we can discuss that, and we will discuss that and anything else. If you're on Twitter, if you're on YouTube watching live, you can get your questions and comments in on the United Supermarkets text line. You can go to United now after the game. You can have post-game celebration. You can stock up for Sunday NFL football at any of your local United locations. The text line open 806-772-0197. All right. Here's my line of thinking on the offense today. I don't care what anybody says. Behren Morton's not 100%. The arm is not 100%. Behren Morton can't throw it downfield with any sort of zip right now for the most part. The touch is okay. But he's not healthy. That's not the live Behren Morton arm we've come to see. And I think that played into some of the play calling, some of the pass routes, and everything else as the game went on. They were saying that he'd been throwing in practice, that he was as healthy as he's been. They can say whatever they want to. That is not a 100% arm for Behren Morton. Why does Kitley run two plays for majority of the game? Run up the middle, split screen. They run a lot of different plays. Now, we're going to talk about the wide receiver screens here in just a second. Trace is jumping in. Second half, Kansas pretty much dared Tech to throw, yeah. And successful adjustments. Yeah, they did dare him to throw. Rip the wide receiver screen out of the playbook. I hate that pass. I hate that play. It is a glorious play on the dry erase board. It looks so good on the chalkboard. It looked good in the 70s and 80s. It looked good in the 90s and 2000. And you know what? It is one of the hardest plays to execute right. I hated having to throw that pass. Hated it. You have multiple things that have to go right for it, whether you've got two blockers and one. If you're running the diamond set and you're trying to get hats on hats. I get everything. But here's what has to happen first for this to work. And we're going to hopefully get rid of the wide receiver screen. The snap has to be really good. I have to catch out of the gun. I have to catch that snap in motion to get my arm cocked to throw. I can't move around. So if the snap's not good, this is a half-second play. And what I mean by that is you've got to beat the defense by a half second on everything to go right, or you get nothing out of it. So the snap has to be absolutely laser perfect because I'm catching it and bringing it up in motion. I'm turning, I'm opening my hips up, and I got to fire. Then the next thing that's got to go right on this play is the pass has to be laser fast. Tyler Shutt can't throw that pass. Behren Morton, healthy, can throw that pass. He's not healthy right now. After that, if I've made the perfect pass, my blockers have to be absolutely perfect, and the receiver has to be coming back to me just a little bit to be catching it in motion and going upfield, because if he catches it standing, guess what the defenders are doing? They're coming to you. You've got to close combat tactics, Mr. Ryan. You've got to close the gap in motion to the defender so you can take one out by moving. All these things have to happen. I hate that play. So why did you see a lot of it? I think they thought that might be the only pass that he could throw. You didn't see Baylor Cup involved, the tight end involved hardly at all in the passing game, and I thought that would be a good way to alleviate some underneath routes that if they really want to come up on the line of scrimmage, I can get to the second level. I'll go downfield. I'm going to go 40 yards downfield. I need to go 10 yards downfield. Hardly saw the tight end. I don't get it. I don't get it. Dan Hellman sticker to McGuire for coaching decisions today. Very much so. Seems like the receivers can't get separation. I don't think they're all that good as a receive corps. I don't think they're very good receivers. They're not difference makers. McGuire decision making. I wrote down elite clock management late in the game, and it was great clock management. The play calling. I mean, obviously you're kind of limited. 26 seconds. We got to go downfield. But the decision making, Texas Tech high IQ football players and coaches down the stretch to give yourself a chance to win that in regulation. Secondary getting beat, they revert to holding. Yeah. Must have lost the analytics spreadsheet on the flight up. Hopefully so. Burn it. Never use it again. Finally had the last drive thrown over the middle. Yeah, they had to. You could throw over the middle because Kansas was in a very deep prevent. They wanted to keep everything funneled onto the into the middle of the field. That's where they wanted you to throw. It was going to be open. The only thing that was it when Bradley didn't get out of bounds. Was it Bradley not getting out of bounds? I'm trying to remember who didn't get out of bounds. I think it was Bradley. Maybe it wasn't on that play. It's like the punt with 4 minutes to go was a great punt. McNamara, again, a weapon, and you used the weapon effectively today. You got away with going for one. What was it in the first half that you went for it once on fourth down, and Morton got the first down for you? And I'm still looking at it going, I'm not seeing the upside, but I feel like a broken record. And you guys who watch Rewind know and watch the daily broadcast and everything else, you know my thoughts on this, that a lot of the times I just don't see the upside. I know what it says on the chart. I understand analytics. I'm not stupid. I get it. In fact, I'm a big fan of analytics in their place, but I'm also a fan of what happens next if I get it. That it like presupposes I'm going to go score. No, doesn't always do that. Yeah, it didn't get out of bounds. That was it. I mean, he called the timeout there at 13. So, yeah, McNamara, a weapon, and you use him effectively today. And the defense did, I won't say just enough. They did, they did enough. The defense really played well. Again, the first half, you dominated both lines of scrimmage like you hadn't done since the Baylor game in Waco. That you own the offensive line of scrimmage. This is a good run block team, offensive line. And then your defensive front really controlled Kansas in the first half. I don't know if they wore down. I think, maybe Kansas opened some things up a little bit with Ballard. They were forced to. They didn't have a choice. And then you're also playing a Kansas team that is used to winning games right now. They're used to coming back and winning that game. Right now, that's not the Kansas that you beat 22 out of 23 times or whatever the number is. And now they don't know about that. They know about winning in Lawrence. So you had to battle that as well today. Jeff says, Micah Hudson says he'll be an early enrollee. I saw that today somewhere. Off the text line, 806-772-0197, brought to you by United Supermarkets. Clock management, great. Gino hitting 3 field goals in a wind impact day was huge. And that's something that it plays a bigger, the wind at kickoff was about 10 miles an hour. That's not that much. Southeast wind about 9 to 10 miles an hour. So a bit of a cross, but it's not that much. But here's what's different there in Lawrence, and most of you guys know this. It's very wide open on the ends. It is the last of the Big 12 stadiums that is still really wide open, that it has a bigger wind impact than any other stadium in the Big 12, that you're going to get more wind impact on that field than anywhere else. So a 9 or 10 mile an hour wind in Lubbock doesn't even make a difference anymore. You don't even get the crosswind now as they've built up, the end zones and everything else. You don't even get that. But in Lawrence, that wind is a bigger factor. I also thought McNamara did a nice job punting into it. It was a little hard to tell on camera if he altered his angle a little bit. I thought maybe he did on his launch angle and try to keep it a little lower. Man, we're playing golf in West Texas. We're hitting it low, get the roll. So there you go. Yeah, Jalen Hutchins, you heard his name called a lot. Bradford as well. They really got good pressure. I thought today, just in basic fronts, that Tim DeRuyter's offense did not have to bring. They brought some pressure today, and they got some home. But I thought they really did a good job with their interior push in the A and B gap. And they really, I think Kansas had a really hard time handling that. There were many times, whether it was Bean or Ballard, that there was just no middle of the pocket to step up into, and that disrupted it. And I'll say again, a lot of credit to the Ballard kid. He hit a third down pass there in the third quarter that he had to step up and maintain really good composure and put a ball across the middle, and he did. Hey, that kid's going to be a good one. He looks like he's got all the tools and a big physical kid. Let's see. What are we missing here? It's kind of where we've gone through a lot of the things that I wanted to get to today. The game management was solid. What more do you want to say about Taj Brooks? First half, I'm like, am I seeing this right? It's Jamie Gill handing off to James Gray again and again. They cannot stop it. James Gray, absolutely unstoppable. And Brooks runs like James Gray, like nobody since James Gray. The balance, the patience, the ability to set up blocks and wait and not run into trouble. I say it one more time. If you're a high school coach or you have a running back and offensive lineman, please show them all 22 tape of that. Text line. If Morton isn't 100%, he showed a lot of guts in the last drive. Yeah, they did. I mean, he did it when he had to, but I'm telling you, he's not 100%. That arm is not there. Key safety blitzes by Tech were effective. Yeah, they got him home. They disrupted. Trade our third string quarterback for theirs. Be nice to Strong. He's a third string for a reason. Really should be fourth string, the way the quarterback worked out. Not getting 3-score lead after Rabbit's interception made close for the rest of the day. Yes, it did. You left a lot of chicken on the bone today. There was that one touchdown that was called back that I knew was going to be problematic. You just kept thinking that's how underdogs lose games. All right. That's how underdogs lose games on the road. That a touchdown turns to 3, a field goal turns to nothing, and everything else. It is a frustrating change, but the defense did win it overall. Frustrating change. Help me out on that. Jamie Gill, my buddy. LD Bell, shout out Blue Raiders. Yeah, Brooks reminds me more of me back, and he and Gray don't really look alike. Now, of course, James Gray wore shoulder pads that were bigger than the state of Vermont, as we all did in the 1980s. Good Lord. Can't bring back the shoulder pads. What were we thinking? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. But there was a run in the first half. I think, yeah, it was the first half. I want to say second quarter that Brooks, and it wasn't like this amazing, 30-yard gainer. It was a 7-yard run, I think, that most running backs get stopped the line of scrimmage. But he let the play develop. He has an internal clock inside him that allows that to happen that most running backs don't have. They panic. Running backs panic just like quarterbacks panic. You just don't hear a lot of announcers talk about it. Danny, well, for so long, the offense forever was the calling card. Now the defense wins for you. What a minute. Okay, I got you on that. Yeah, I'm all for winning with defense, winning with offense, winning with special teams, complementary football. You would have loved to have had a little bit more offense today, but I kind of put this in the same Baylor category, that this is complementary football. This is a little bit what it looks like. The offense, stall out a couple of times for you when you could have had a lot more on the board. But the defense picked you up. The defense picked you up when you needed to. James says, as I have to hit the see more button, not see more Texas, but read more. Listen to the game on the radio. They mentioned at times some questionable no flag calls both ways that determine drives. I can't speak to what they would have said regarding any situation. So, I mean, to me, it was a game. You had calls that I didn't like. You had some calls that you liked. You had some replay stuff that didn't go your way, went your way. I can't think of a single call that automatically I look to and go, wow, that really affected the outcome of the game. But almost all penalties, any penalty, is going to affect a drive positively or negatively. You know, so I'm probably the last person you want to try to bait and draw into. Let's talk about officiating, because 99 times out of 100, it truly doesn't impact the outcome of the game. There's that one time out of 100 where a singular call or a singular moment can and ends up affecting the outcome, determining the outcome, not affecting. Everything affects the outcome. The wind affects the outcome. The turf versus grass affects the outcome. Everything affects the outcome, but a single determinant to the outcome, it is very rare that any single thing happens like that. Just like it's very rare that any single aspect of a football team determines the outcome. So, yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. I thought, who was it Dean Dino, or who? I forget who the Fox ref analyst is these days on the spot there for Kansas. Was it short? Was it good? Was it going to overturn it? No, we're not going to overturn. I'm like, dude, they're not going to overturn it. They probably should. They're not. They're not going to overturn it. Sure enough, they didn't overturn it. Get rid of replay. I'm all for that. UCF is up 14-0 over Oklahoma State. Wow. With UCF, and we've got plenty of time to get to that, that's one of those teams you probably wanted to face earlier in Big 12 play from a standpoint of them, not necessarily you. That you wanted to catch them before they've been through the experiences of playing Big 12 teams and maybe catch them a little off guard on what it's like to play in this league every week in and week out. That's what BYU's learning. All these teams are learning what it's like to do this every week, not just once or twice a year, not play a non-conference game where you get up for somebody and you're punching up. That it's there every week. It's there every Saturday. The worst teams in the league are really good. And you are seeing that with the teams that are coming in. It won't be as exaggerated when you see some of the Pac-12 teams that are coming in, because obviously they're used to playing in that style of conference. But I think you may be looking at that UCF team and going, I kind of wish you caught them earlier before maybe they find a few things. We'll go as long as the conversation is good today. Get on the United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197. Texas Tech winning in Lawrence. It's pretty much what they do. They beat Kansas. I mean, I know it's Kansas football, but it's still the most lopsided rivalry series, we should say, in Big 12 football history. And for all they've done to you on the court, they must scratch their heads and go, what the hell do we have to do to beat Tech? I mean, other than Tech muffing a blocked field goal and giving them one, and then the what was the other loss in Lubbock when Cliff got hurt? Wasn't that the deal? Cliff got knocked out of the game, and BJ had to come in, and it ended up going to overtime. Aren't those only two losses? Am I missing one? I try not to bring that up if BJ Simmons is on the rewind or anything. We want to thank Thacker Jewelry too for being our sponsor for Raiderland Rewind. They also bring you Diamond Talk. We're getting closer to baseball as well. So if you're in town, go by their showroom. Tell them, hey, Joe, thanks for being a part of Raiderland. Do we know what the brand is yet? Yes. The hardest working, most competitive something team week in and week out. Texter off the United Supermarkets text line. We'd lost this game, it would feel like an utter meltdown, but we did just beat a top 16 team. Yeah, I mean, that's the not gamut of emotion that you go through in a game like this. Okay, got a chance. Maybe we'll play good. Somebody yesterday, maybe yesterday said, Texas got to play a perfect game to win. I said, no, you don't have to play a perfect game to win. You have to play a good game to win. So you're going along and hey, this is good. This sucks. Then you're going to go overtime, and then you win, and you're like, what just happened there? Well, you won. Do I think Texas beats TCU today? Yes, I do. I do. I think Texas beats TCU, even though Sonny celebrated his birthday earlier this week. Welcome to the club, Sonny. Yeah, we talked about Morton Brooks. Defense, again, the front. Tim DeRuyter gets so much respect from me with what he does with defensive fronts. And I know it's hard to watch in real time. It's hard for me to watch in real time, and I have the luxury of doing this all the time. But the concepts that they utilize And I use concept as a big term for some of the different combos, rush combos, lineup choices they make, offensive linemen make with some of their run fit. We used to call it where you line up. Now it's a run fit. And just a really good ability to generate pressure. And today they got it home some. That I just really am a fan of what he does. If Texas Tech can just continue to get better in the back end, better in the secondary, this defense will continue to get better. They've just got to get more better guys in the secondary. That's all there is to it. And again, I feel bad for anybody who has to play defensive back in 2023. Everything's against you. The rules are against you. You can't hit anybody. If you breathe on anybody, you're going to get thrown out of the game. You can't touch anybody. We're getting back to that deal. You can have contact with the receiver all down the field. I can have contact with the defensive back. But now we want to throw a flag on everything. I feel bad for defensive backs. You're one of the greatest athletes on a football field, and they take away all of your athleticism. It's horrible. Would be grand if Tech could knock UT out of the Big 12 championship game to end the year. It would not just be grand. It'd be epic. It'd be awesome. We'd write, short poems about it, not long Odyssey poems, but maybe short poems using both Greek and Latin. It would be good. Hey, Weston, speaking of a man who's well-versed in Greek and Latin, how you doing, Weston? So 16-13, just like I had this as a dead under, but I had it going to overtime and it going 30-27, which would have been under in an overtime game. Kansas will probably say, well, it would have been different if Bean stays out there. Would it? Would it have been different? I don't think so. I was more worried about all of a sudden Ballard coming in. We don't got no tape on this guy. We don't know what they're going to do. What is he going to do? Game plan's out the window. Texts are off the text line. I got to get out of here. You are Tech Radio. Appreciate it. I'm not. I'm just a small part of the people who cover the program. But I appreciate everybody who takes time. Like our texter there on the United Supermarkets text line jumping in. I appreciate the kind words. It means a lot to me. And I'm just one of the dudes out there trying to have a little fun. Just trying to have a little fun, as Dean Martin would say. And if you guys are nice enough to come along for the ride with me each day for a little while, can't tell you how much we appreciate it. Our sponsors appreciate it greatly. Arctic Air. You can call the bear if your air gets a little too Arctic in the coming days. You've had a couple of glimpses of cold air. How did your heater handle it? Did it not handle it very well? Call the bear. Callthebear.com. Veteran-owned and operated, my man Shane. Happy Veterans Day to Shane there at Arctic Air. And should have said right off the broadcast, we thank everybody out there who has served this great country, past and present. Our debt of honor and gratitude can never be repaid to you fully. So we thank all of you that have carried that mantle of freedom upon your shoulders at any time, whether current or past, and any of your family members out there that have done that. We thank you as well for them. Let's see. Where are we? We could go to the scoreboard if we so choose and see if there's anything new. Where are we on the Big 12 games? You guys get a chance to watch this. We said UCF is up right now, 14. We'll see if we can get the scoreboard to function properly. We got a minute 45 left in the second. K-State is throttling Baylor 35-13. What is okay? Howard through the air is killing them today. 134-3 touchdowns. So it's not the freshman running wild. UCF up now 17-0 with 12:42 to go in the second. Good Lord, what are you doing, Gundy? Maddening. 7-2 and you're down 17-0. They're at the stadium that was basically built out of old container boxes. Tonight, Houston, Cincinnati, West Virginia, Oklahoma, and then TCU, Texas. Yeah, I think Texas will handle that game fairly well. Did anybody, and I know it was going on concurrently, but was anyone going back and forth with the Michigan game where from midway through the second quarter, they don't run a single pass play? Even Jeff Monken thought it was a little run heavy. If you thought Tech was run heavy in the first half, Michigan at Penn State, by the way, James Franklin now like 2-14 against good teams in the Big Ten. And anyhow, big game James is a fraud. They literally don't throw a pass. And then the interim coach just dropping F-bombs and everything on the post-game interview there. But I loved it because he started by saying, I want to thank the Lord. And you guys, you have my attention, brother. Something else to see right there. Are you kidding me? Georgetown's beating Bucknell with 3:53 to go, 37. Oh, no, it's tied up. Okay. All right. Last chance you guys can get in. Get your questions going again. If you're just getting in, we've discussed quite a bit of everything now, but if you're just getting in, we'll allow you to fire your questions and comments at us. The deeper stats and everything, there's really nothing. Sometimes there's stuff in the stats that you look at it and go, wow, that really tells a story that may have been hidden. There wasn't really anything hidden today. Tech ran the ball really well in the first half. They didn't do as well in the second half. By the third quarter, Kansas had passed Tech in average yards per play, and they would beat Tech 4.9 to 4.5 in average yards per play. That's part of the problem with Tech until the final drive of not being able to go downfield effectively and throw downfield. Your average yards per completion, 9.3 for Tech, 13.7 for Kansas. So that's with a third-string quarterback in there that they dominate you on that. We saw that. We knew that was happening. There wasn't anything really crazy going on. Third downs, neither team all that great. 7-15 for Kansas Tech, 4-14. And you were able to get both of those. The penalties were not huge in number today on either one of that. Going to go. One thing that did the maybe the biggest moment in the game, if you want to try to go whole big picture and everything else, is the end of the 18-play, 93-yard drive that takes over nearly 8 minutes of clock, and Kansas doesn't score. Now, why is that big? Because, as most of you know, both of these teams are horrible red zone defense teams. Kansas is literally the worst in the country, and Tech is like 85 or 90, somewhere through there. I can't remember the stat. I'd have to go look it up, and it's not worth that. Both of these teams, when you get in the red zone on them, you're going to score, and they were 2 of 3 in the red zone, and you were 4 of 4. That you could almost quite literally look at that moment, go, okay, there's your game. And I said Leipold made some interesting calls today. The older I get, I guess the more conservative I feel myself becoming when it comes to in-game decisions and things of that sort. But I also feel like I'm pretty in tune after, well over 30 years of doing this from a professional media standpoint, of understanding the ebb and flow of games, of understanding the emotion of the games, the things that don't show up on an analytical chart. And with a backup with third-string quarterback in, and you go all the way down the field, I would not have been able to let my team come off the field without points. Now, if Texas Tech had been strumming you and turning touchdowns and everything else, yeah, I think it's a different deal. But at that moment, I needed a payoff for my team. I needed a payoff, and I didn't. And you don't get it there. And I'm all for aggressive, and let's go over the throat and jug it. You didn't need the throat there. You need 3 points. And I heard a really good discussion this morning, Michael Lombardi on VSiN on the Lombardi line, talking about we have a generation of coaches who hate field goals now. We have a generation of coaches in the NFL and in college that absolutely hate field goals. Field goals can win you games. What won Tech a game today? I'll let you answer. Field goals are okay. So, yeah, on a day where you don't do anything, typically stopping teams in the red zone, you stopped them in the red zone, and you get it done. Price Kansas didn't run it more on their final drive with 4 minutes. Where are we going? Didn't run more on their next to the last drive. Okay. Let's see. You get it at 8:44. If you're talking about, they go and they score on the long drive there to tie it up at 13. So if you're talking about the drive that was there at 13-7, 8:45 in the fourth, it's Neal and the Wildcat for 3, Ballard option keeper. They ran the ball on that drive. You know, they used up 4 minutes on that to get the 24-yard field goal. They get the ball again on their last drive that ties it up, and that's where it's incomplete. Ballard runs +4. You get Skinner for 15. You throw it to Fairchild again. I mean, they're moving. They got to go score. They got to go do something. So I'm not sure exactly maybe which drive we're referring to. No dumb to go for it, really. Small ball. Yeah. But I can't, in that moment, that kind of surprised me. And again, the play that knocked Bean out of the game, he's just had his knee completely rearranged and came back out. And you run him with no blocking out there on that 4th down play, and he's done. It reminded me of Cliff running, Bowman after he's had the hell beat out of him. Hey, let's run him at the goal line and see what happens. See if he'll get hurt. Oh, he got hurt? Well, nobody could have seen that coming. Really weird. So now, okay, so still, welcome to Raiderland Rewind. If you're just getting in, recapping Tech 16-13 victory. A great day for Donnie Anderson, holding Gale Sayers in check. Wasn't quite 1964 throwback, but it was pretty close. You guys, so now you've got a Saturday night, right? Me and the wife are debating whether we go into town and go out to supper, or just we hang out here at the Arctic Air Studios. But you got anybody got the big plans? You're just going to sit around and watch some more football? We've had now 3 Saturdays where you've had Saturday nights, because you had the Thursday game, then you had the open date. BYU was the last time back on October 21st. We were sitting around having to watch on a Saturday night. So you got that going on. Somebody asked, Mahomes at the game? Yes, Mahomes at the game. He and Brittany were at the game. And that's how you know. Sorry, I'm cracking up. I'm watching out the windows of the Arctic Air Studio, my son going to his truck, and he decided he didn't want to overdress for the trip out to the truck, I guess. Smoking beef ribs all day. My man Trace there also makes his own hot sauces and salsas and everything else. Hanging out in the old stand, looking for wild pigs. Kill them all. Kill them all. Every single one. Skipped Argentina. What did I miss there? Yeah. Oh, my nose is all itchy. That means I'm going to get money, right? No, it just means I hadn't taken any Benadryl this afternoon is what it means at this point. So, you do what you do. All right, we'll finish it up on this. We'll do a little bit of a roll call. Everybody who's watching, whether you're on YouTube, on Twitter, use the United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197. We're going to finish it up this way. 2 games to go. What happens in the last 2 games? All right? Taking some should-be drink, sponsor of Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Absolutely. When they start sponsoring it, I'll start saying their name. It's like the old Ron White line. When they start paying me, I'll tell you what's in the glass. So you got 2 games to go. Obviously, bowl eligibility is at stake here. You guys can text in 806-772-0197. Want everybody to let us know what you think happens. We got a lot of 1-on-1s, Jeff, Danny, and Chris. Who you beating? Are you beating? Is it USC? UCF? UFC? Taking on the fighters of UFC. Everybody going 1-1. Are you more or less confident, now about the Central Florida game than you were 4 hours ago? Get the win against UCF. UT loss. And I think that's probably the smart money if I were handicapping it. Tech will be a favorite against Central Florida. And we'll see what number they hang. I think that's going to be Texas Tech at home. Tech could open up as about a 6-point favorite in that. I don't know if they'll give you the hook on that right off the bat. If I had a true number on that, I'd have 6.5. I think Texas Tech favorited over Central Florida in this game. Off the text line, we have to be going 7-5, right? No, don't have to. You're 5-5 right now. 6-6 gets you to a bowl. The hole. I haven't heard it called that in forever. 60 days in the hole. Yeah, it's at Jones Stadium. Final home game. It's on the short release, so we won't know. I take that. Yeah, we'll know tomorrow. Will we know tomorrow or Monday? We'll know what time it is. The under at 6.5. You mean you think it'll be below 6.5 on the spread? Is what you're saying? If Morton was 100%, take 2-0. Yeah, and he's just not going to be 100% this year, I don't think. UCF will be high from today, so take them down. Yeah. Bring the clicker. Wave to the roof, Raider. Tell Spike you'll be there. Beat Florida, play Texas on a three-game win streak. Have a chance. I mean, Texas can have a chance. You've got a chance against Texas for sure. First off, they're still coached by Steve Sarkisian, okay? That right there means you've got a great chance, particularly if it's a high leverage situation. You've got a great chance, you know? May need to beat Texas to keep them out of the playoffs off the United Supermarkets text line. Yeah, I'm all for that. 100% all for Texas Tech pulling that off. But you've got a chance. Nobody's just that good in the Big 12. Ewers is healthy enough to play. I don't think he's 100%, but they say he's healthy enough to play. I don't think it's a physical thing with Ewers. I think it's decision making. Where the hell did that come from, dude? All of a sudden, I'm in Manitoba. Don't consider him a good decision maker. Hey, don't you know? Like, brain fog, eh? I got hit in the head by the puck. Be nice to know the game time before Monday. Yeah, I hate for fans. I hate for everybody. Hate me. All these short turnaround times on TV and anything else. Winnipeg, Manitoba. We were up at Thunder Bay, chilling with the friends. Paul Ferroni came in, and me and the fellas, we were doing some fishing. Take off, Hoser. Take off. Hey, take off to the Great White North. Strange Brew, one of the most underrated comedy movies of all of the 80s. God bless Bob and Doug McKenzie. Geddy Lee for singing the theme song. If you had the Great White North comedy album, you got to be at least, I guess, maybe my age, maybe a little younger to remember buying comedy albums. It's what we did before Netflix and TV specials. All right, we're going to wrap it up. It's been enjoyable. We'll have our column tomorrow, 5 things we know on a Sunday. So hopefully you guys will be able to take advantage of that. I'd ask us to end the stream. So we got to say goodbye to our Twitter and our YouTube folks first. In the stream. Yes, wait.